Every case has a side the world never heard. I'm the untold case. Every week I go deeper than the headlines. Into the court documents, the trial transcripts, the details that never made it into the story most people heard. If you're new here, subscribe right now and hit the bell. Because today's case has a twist that most people who followed this story never knew about. Stay with me until the end. This is the untold case. Let's get into it. On the evening of May 11th, 2022, Anna Moriah Wilson arrived at a friend's house in Austin, Texas. She was 25 years old, one of the most promising professional cyclists in the world, known to everyone who loved her as Mo. She had just finished dinner with a fellow cyclist named Kaitlin Strickland. Within hours, Mo Wilson was dead, shot 3 times inside her friend's home. And the woman who pulled the trigger had already begun planning her escape. Anna Moriah Wilson grew up in Vermont. A Dartmouth graduate, a former elite skier who found her true calling on a bicycle. She turned professional and became one of the most exciting names in gravel cycling. People who raced against her described her as someone who made it look effortless. Someone who pushed herself beyond what seemed physically possible and somehow came out smiling. She had already secured major victories, including the Big Sugar Gravel race. The entire cycling world was watching her closely. She had no idea someone else was watching her too. For a completely different reason. Kaitlin Strickland was also a professional cyclist. He and Kaitlin Armstrong had been in an on-again, off-again relationship for approximately 3 years. During one of their breaks in fall 2021, Kaitlin became briefly romantically involved with Mo Wilson. They did not stay together long. Kaitlin and Kaitlin got back together. Kaitlin told Kaitlin about what had happened with Mo. Kaitlin Armstrong said she forgave him. She did not. In May 2022, Mo Wilson traveled to Austin, Texas to prepare for an upcoming race. On the evening of May 11th, Kaitlin invited Mo to dinner. He later testified it was a friendly dinner between colleagues, nothing romantic. But Kaitlin Armstrong knew about that dinner. Kaitlin had told her. And what happened next, according to prosecutors, was not impulsive, not a crime of passion. It was premeditated, calculated, deliberate. Kaitlin Armstrong drove to the address where Mo was staying that night. She entered the home. She shot Anna Moriah Wilson 3 times. Then she got in her car and drove away. Mo Wilson's body was discovered that same evening. Police began their investigation immediately. Witnesses placed Kaitlin Armstrong's vehicle near the scene. Security footage showed her car in the area. Her phone data confirmed her location. A warrant was issued for her arrest. By the time police went to find her, Kaitlin Armstrong was already gone. And here's what most people who followed this case never fully understood about those first hours. Within 24 hours of the murder, Kaitlin Armstrong had sold her car for $12,200 cash. No bank transfer, no paper trail, cash and gone. Surveillance footage showed her boarding a plane in Austin, connecting in Houston, landing in New York City. From New York, she boarded an international flight, not with her own passport, with her sister's. By the time a warrant was officially issued, she was already in Costa Rica. This was not panic. This was not impulse. The cash sale of the vehicle, the passport, the route, the destination, every step was planned in advance. This was someone who had already thought about what she would do if she ever needed to disappear. 43 days on the run. Kaitlin Armstrong settled into Santa Teresa, a small remote beach town on Costa Rica's Pacific coast, a surf and yoga destination popular with digital nomads and international travelers. She changed her appearance, cut and dyed her hair, assumed fake names, going by Beth to some people, Ari to others. And then she went further. She got plastic surgery on her face. A Costa Rican doctor and his assistant confirmed to NBC News that they performed the procedure on Armstrong to alter her appearance. She was not hiding in fear. She was building a new life. She was going to local yoga studios. She was meeting people. She was planning to establish herself as a yoga instructor in Costa Rica permanently. According to Deputy US Marshal Brandon Filla, she was getting really ready to establish that next part of her career. She had killed Mo Wilson on May 11th. By July, she was already planning her future yoga career on a Costa Rican beach. Now, here is how investigators found her. They knew she was in Costa Rica. A source told them she was in Santa Teresa. But finding one person in a small tourist town full of international travelers is harder than it sounds. They needed a way to draw her out without alerting her. So they placed a fraudulent advertisement for a yoga instructor position in a local Costa Rican publication. A fake job ad, placed specifically because they knew she was a yoga enthusiast looking to teach. Kaitlin Armstrong responded to the ad. Her 43 days on the run ended when agents confronted her at a hostel. They found her sister's passport, surgical receipts in a communal locker, evidence of the false identities she had been using. She was taken into custody on June 30th, 2022 and brought back to Texas. But what happened next inside the Travis County Jail is the detail most people never heard. And it is the detail that tells you exactly who Kaitlin Armstrong really is. Investigators reviewed surveillance footage of her jail cell while she was awaiting trial. What they found was extraordinary. For months, Armstrong had been running, doing squats, and practicing yoga throughout her day room and recreation time, every single day, training her body methodically and consistently. Then, she began complaining about a leg injury. She requested an outside medical appointment. She also requested that leg restraints be restricted due to her alleged injury. She was not injured. She was manufacturing a reason to be taken outside, Bob, where physical restraints would be lighter. Inside her cell, investigators found a metal pen with a pin broken off. Officers believed she had used that pin to remove her own handcuffs. She had spent months physically training. Faked an injury to get outside, broken a pen to pick her restraints. On October 11th, 2023, as she was being escorted out of a medical building through the rear doors, Kaitlin Armstrong ran. She made it outside. She was quickly recaptured. But consider what this reveals. This was the same methodical planning and calculation that prosecutors argued she used before the murder itself. This is not someone who acts on impulse. This is someone who plans, who prepares, who executes. From the night of the murder to the escape from Costa Rica to the months of jail cell training, every single move Kaitlin Armstrong made was thought through in advance. The trial of Kaitlin Armstrong began in October 2023 in Travis County, Texas. Prosecutors presented digital data, vehicle tracking, phone records, forensic findings, and the testimony of Colin Strickland. Colin took the stand. He confirmed the dinner with Mo. He confirmed he had told Kaitlin about it. The defense challenged the evidence, raised questions, suggested alternative explanations. The jury was not persuaded. On November 16, 2023, Kaitlin Armstrong was convicted of first-degree murder. She was sentenced to 90 years in prison. And then came the detail from the civil proceedings that almost nobody covered. In May 2024, Mo Wilson's parents, Karen and Eric Wilson, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Kaitlin Armstrong. A judge ruled in their favor and ordered Armstrong to pay $15 million to Mo Wilson's family. But the number is not the most important part. Mo Wilson's family attorney, Randy Howry, explained exactly why this judgment matters beyond the money. He said, "If there is ever an opportunity for Armstrong to financially benefit from this crime, through a movie deal, a book deal, any media deal, this judgment will prevent her from getting any of that money until the Wilson family is fully compensated. Kaitlin Armstrong cannot profit from what she did, not from a book." Not from an interview. Not from a documentary deal. Not from anything. The $15 million judgment sits between Armstrong and any future profit she might ever try to make from killing Anna Moriah Wilson. Armstrong appealed her conviction. Her attorneys argued there were reversible errors at trial. In January 2026, the Texas Third Circuit Court of Appeals affirmed her conviction. No reversible error. Sentence upheld. Kaitlin Armstrong is 38 years old. She is serving 90 years at the Dr. Lane Murray Unit in Gatesville, Texas. She will not be eligible for parole until 2052. Anna Moriah Wilson was 25 years old. She was one of the most talented cyclists of her generation. She had a family who loved her, friends who describe her as the kind of person who made every room feel lighter. She left personal journals, excerpts of which have been shared publicly, that reveal a young woman who was thoughtful, ambitious, and deeply elated. She went to dinner with a friend on the evening of May 11, 2022, and she never came home. Because Kaitlin Armstrong could not let go of a dinner. Because Colin Strickland told his girlfriend what happened. And his girlfriend decided that Anna Moriah Wilson needed to die for it. What do you think about this case? Do you think 90 years was the right sentence, or should it have been more? Do you think the $15 million civil judgment sends the right message, that killers should never be allowed to profit from their crimes? And knowing now that she spent months planning a second escape from inside a jail cell, does that change how you see the original murder? Leave your theory in the comments below. I read every single one. If this case gave you something to think about, subscribe to The Untold Case right now. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell. Every week, I go deeper into the court documents. Every week, I find the details that never made it into the story most people heard. Every case has a side the world never heard until now. See you next week.